Keep this frequency clear. Keep this frequency clear.
CJAM. Redefining radio in Windsor, Detroit. We are 99.1 FM.
Keep this frequency clear.
Coming to you live from the MediaPlex in downtown Windsor, this is a presentation of St. Clair College Journalism.
It's Friday, and that means it's time for MediaPlex Live.
On CJAM 99.1, redefining radio in Windsor, Detroit. I'm Riley Livingston.
I'm Zachary Ballog.
I'm Elliot St. Aubin.
And I'm Pauline Bunyay.
And you're in for a half hour of news, views, commentary, and maybe a few laughs. But first, the news. There are changes here at St. Clair College, so we sent Elliot St. Aubin to talk with our newly appointed president-elect.
St. Clair College has chosen its next president, Michael Silvaggi.
This is amazing. Perhaps it hasn't solely set in yet, but I'm excited. This is a big responsibility, and it's something that I've aspired to do.
He attributes the school's success to the staff, students, and faculty.
Everything that we've achieved has been a result of the people, our students, our staff, faculty, our board members, and so forth. Being born in Windsor, having an understanding of what our community needs.
Silvaggi will become the college's 7th president on June 1st, 2024, replacing the previous president, Patty France.
It's undescribable. It's very much an honor. I've had the privilege of working with Patty for many years. She has been a mentor of mine. She taught me that you always have to put the institution first. That is a leadership trait. Her kindness, her empathy is something that I've learned to emulate.
Silvaggi says he wants to keep doing the great things that the college is doing.
We've seen our campus growth and development, our enrollment. This year we've just hit our all-time record high enrollment. Our main driver for doing so has been a bit about sustainability, but at the same sense, it's about creating an environment where students can thrive.
He officially becomes St. Clair College's next president on June 1st, 2024. For MediaPlex News, I'm Elliot St. Aubin.
Pauline Bunyay is joining us this year, and she's here with the weather. It's been a nice week. What does the long weekend have in store for us?
Well, after this gorgeous summer-like week, apparently we're cooling off now. As today we are 20 degrees, Saturday will be a little bit cloudy but sunny with 22, and then same on Sunday, which will be 13. Party cloudy and party sunny. Enjoy your holiday Monday and take it easy on the turkey.
Gobble, gobble.
You're listening to MediaPlex Live.
On CJAM 99.1, redefining radio in Windsor, Detroit.
On today's show, Crime Stoppers will join us.
The sports guys are in the house.
Jesse LaRouche warms the bench.
And I cap it off with the weirdest news found on the internet.
All this and more on MediaPlex Live.
On CJAM 99.1 FM, you know, the jammin' one.
As we launch our new season, we do it with old friends. Crime Stoppers and the MediaPlex have been community partners for 13 years. Here's Constable Lauren Briscoe with this week's report.
Crime Stoppers is a nonprofit charity that relies solely on the support of the community for funding of our program. Our statistics prove that the program works to help keep our community safe. So far in 2023, Crime Stoppers has assisted in 26 arrests, 74 charges have been laid, recovered 8 weapons, 122,000 in property has been recovered, and seized almost 184,000 in drugs throughout Windsor and Essex County. If you know a crime that has happened or one that is about to take place, remember you can report to Crime Stoppers online at catchcrooks.com or by calling directly at 519-258-TIPS. You will remain anonymous, you will not have to attend court, and you may be eligible for a cash reward. Thank you, Windsor and Essex County, for doing your part. I'm Police Coordinator Lauren Briscoe.
Blake Sharp is joining us this year, and he is here with the day of the week, Blake.
Good morning, this is Blake Sharp. Today is October 6th, which is National Noodle Day. Not sure what to eat today? Why not enjoy some delicious noodles? Why not have nice and warm chicken noodle soup or broccoli cheddar soup? Good noodle places to try are U Noodles on Wyandotte West, Spago on Erie Street East, and Rose Garden Chinese Cuisine. Enjoy a nice warm noodle dinner to feel better in the chilly season.
Well, speaking of food, It feels like we just started school, but Thanksgiving is right around the corner. Like, we're staring right at it. And then before we know it, it's going to be Christmas. Dollarama already has Christmas decorations out, which I think is insanity. But when it comes to Thanksgiving, what are your thoughts? Let's start with Zach.
I don't need to be kissing under the mistletoe after a turkey dinner. But anywho, you know what? I'm excited for Thanksgiving. I love it. I love everything about it. I love to eat. And also, it's Columbus Day in the U.S. because, you know, that old poem, Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue looking for a turkey made of tofu. So there you go.
The classic poem.
The classic poem that's been taught in history classes worldwide.
Oh my gosh. Okay, how about you, Pauline?
Well, this is my first Thanksgiving here. My first Thanksgiving ever, because I've never had a Thanksgiving celebration. I'm from a country where that doesn't exist. So I guess it will be interesting, a new experience.
Yeah,
Are
it'll
you
be
excited?
exciting.
Yes. I'm excited about the food.
How about you, Elliot?
Usually my mom and I, we make stuffing for any of these events, whether it's Christmas or Thanksgiving. So that's probably what I'll be doing. But after that, that's about all the interaction with family I'll have, and I'll just be eating.
Just be eating. And Blake, what about you?
My favorite thing about Thanksgiving is seeing my two nieces, who are these adorable little twins, and I love doing crafts with them and, talking to them about what I'm thankful for, which is those two.
That's awesome.
Well, let's head back into the Wayback Machine, or as I like to call it, the DeLorean, with Elliot St. Aubin. Elliot.
Welcome back to This Week in History, where we take a look back at the interesting events that have happened this week. To start off this week, we go to October 3rd, 1849, which was the last time that Edgar Allan Poe was seen in public. This American poet was found delirious in a gutter in Baltimore, Maryland. This was the last time that he was seen in the public before his death, just 4 days later. Most historians agree that it was most likely his drinking habit that caused his death. Now we get a lot closer to home, in fact, just across the river, because on October 1st, 1908, the Henry Ford Motor Company introduced the Model T Ford. It rolled off the assembly line in Detroit and allowed the common people to own their very own automobile, even though it was about $900 or what would be $30,000 by today. Finally, we have an event that was also very close to home. We go back to October 5th, 1813, when Chief Tecumseh was chased to the Thames River by William Henry Harrison. It was there where Chief Tecumseh, with his followers and British forces, took their final stand. Unfortunately, Chief Tecumseh did not make it through this battle. Thanks for looking back. I'm Elliot St. Aubin.
Collectors and superheroes descended on Windsor, Essex for the Northern National Collectors Convention. Zach went out to bring you this story.
Collectors Unite. The first ever Northern National Collectors Convention was held at Caesars Windsor this past weekend, where residents had the chance to browse their favorite collectibles. This convention was started by Jeremy Renaud, who talked about why he wanted to do this event.
Run events in Canada and the U.S. I was eventually promoted to being the general manager of the Sport Card and Memorabilia Expo, Canada's National Sport Card Convention. And I just basically got the experience along the way, and I decided to go at my own instead of running other people's shows, to start my own show. And I wanted to give my hometown the show that it deserved.
Numerous vendors were on hand, selling everything from sports jerseys to figurines to Lego minifigures. Cartoon Kingdom was on hand as one of their sponsors.
We are celebrating our 25th anniversary this year, so it was a great way to kind of celebrate that, put a capper on the anniversary. It's been a while since we've been able to have a show of this magnitude in Windsor, and it's definitely important to have this type of community event for fans of pop culture products like we carry, or trading cards and whatnot.
This event even featured some special guests.
I was asked to come here personally by the organizers, actually. I have a lot of fun when I come out to these things.
Even though the first event was held here in Windsor, it will move to the Greater Toronto area in the future, with the potential to set up a quadrennial rotation cycle across other markets here in Canada. For the MediaPlex, I'm Zachary Ballog.
I know absolutely nothing about sports, but that's why we have Cam Segan and Jesse LaRouche here. Take it away, sports guys.
Welcome to the Sports Guys. I'm Cam Segan.
And I'm Jesse LaRouche. It is good to be back. First off, we got football. What seemed to be a snooze fest between the Bears and Commanders coming into the game actually turned out to be pretty fun.
That caught me off guard. I was not expecting to see them score that much, but here they were putting up 60 points, with the Bears taking the win after 347 long days without one.
Hey, even though the game was entertaining, I do have to point out, these upcoming and past Thursday night matchups have been trash.
That they have, but I guess at least we got some competition going with the MLB postseason. Tomorrow, the ALDS kicks off.
I'm pumped for that Phillies and Braves seasons. There's going to be bad blood after the Phillies knocked them out last year.
Not only that, but we got the Twins trying to extend their first playoff streak since 2002 against the Astros. We got the first place Orioles, who just 2 years ago lost 110 games, taking on the Rangers. And the Dodgers dynasty taking on a young Diamondback squad.
If only we had the Jays to root for still, but instead, they decided to take out their $131 million pitcher after only 3 innings. They left men in scoring position countless times.
And now, sure, that pitching change was awful, and this better cost someone their job. But how are you supposed to win playoff series when you only score 1 run in 18 innings?
I got no clue, Cam, but at least there's another Canadian team that's kicked off their run for a championship.
That's right, the Windsor Spitfires are back in action, and they look a whole lot different than last year.
You can say that again, but that's just the nature of junior hockey, Cam. There's so much turnover with the roster every year.
And that new roster was in action last night against the North Bay Battalion, picking up their first win of the season in front of a fairly small but very loud home crowd.
It was an overtime thriller. Ryan Abraham scored the game-winning goal on a breakaway, sending the crowd into a frenzy. But that's all we got for you this week. I'm Jess LaRouche.
And I'm Cam Segan. We'll see you next week.
If you want to find out what's happening with St. Clair College athletics, Sydney Langlois has the scoop.
Welcome back, Saints. Today, I'm at Acumen Stadium, one of our top-notch facilities here on campus where you can enjoy some of the best athletics in Ontario. After a restful summer, we're back in full swing and ready to pick things up right where we left off. Last year was one for the books here at St. Clair, with us hosting OFC championships, CCSA championships, men's basketball and baseball OCAA championships, and winning all 4 titles. From recruiting to facility upgrades, all stops were made to make this the best year yet. I got to speak with SSAA President Eric Dominguez about some of the new and exciting things coming to St. Clair for not only our varsity athletes, but also the students looking to get involved and maybe even bring out their competitive side.
Things in SSAA that are new this year include the massive schedule of events, especially intramural-wise. Our hopes to host different types of leagues, tournaments, open nights in sports that some people want to try, some people want to have a more competitive, but maybe not at a varsity level type experience. Students can get involved by showing up to literally anything. What I like to say, whether it's talking about sports, recreation, or otherwise at the college, is just if you show up, that's the first step.
For the MediaPlex, I'm Sydney Langlois.
We're gonna get Jesse LaRouche up off the bench to talk about this week in sports. Here's Bench Warmers.
Welcome to Benchwarming, a podcast where even though I haven't been on the field in 10 years, I'm still talking about the people that are. This week was a crazy one. First, Chandler Jones. He accused his coach, Josh McDaniels, of getting Aaron Hernandez murdered. He got fired. He got arrested. All in 1 week. Now, a lot of people are saying this may be signs of CTE, but all I'm saying is the guy plays in Vegas. It could very well be ether. But if that sounds like a bad week, at least he's not a Chicago Bears fan. The Chicago Bears blew a 21-point lead to the Denver Broncos. That's right, the same team that just got a 70-burger dropped on their head last week. This damn Bears team hasn't won a game since Elon Musk switched Twitter to X. It's been over a year since the Chicago Bears fan had a reason to smile. I think they might be going emo. And speaking of emo, Jimmy Butler. This guy, for the second year in a row, showed up to Media Day not as Jimmy Butler. This year, he showed up as Heat Wentz. That's what the internet is coining him as, with his flippy hair and emo attire. A little homage to Pete Wentz. Hell, he even had the fake piercings going on. Honestly, though, after not getting Dame and all these Eastern Conference finals with no ring, I can see why you might be feeling a little bit dark. Which is why I'm here to lighten the mood. The Philadelphia Eagles are still unbeaten. Now, don't get me wrong, it wasn't pretty at all. We took the Washington Commanders to overtime and barely squeaked one out, which is kind of like taking the ugly girl to prom. You know, you got the date, but you're not going to brag about it. And honestly, you kind of hope other people don't find out. But with that being said, we're still undefeated, and we're still number one. Go Birds. And before we wrap up the show, I got to give my honorary benchwarmer of the week to Chicago Bears head coach, Matt Canada, who decided to go for it on 4th down instead of taking the lead with a field goal. You, sir, are a dumbass. That's all that's happening on the bench today, so see you guys next time.
But we both know you like to mess around. But when I see you, yeah,
I just want to mention the views of Jesse LaRouche do not reflect on the production of Friday Live.
All right, moving on. Zach's back with his take on entertainment. It's time for views and reviews.
You can just hear the comment section going at this point. It's that segment where I talk about all forms of entertainment, new and old. Time for Zach's views and reviews. On this first views and reviews back, I will be talking about Only Murders in the Building. Now, this show follows around 3 residents who live in a New York City apartment together and solve crimes while doing a podcast. I got to admit, I had high hopes for this show. Don't get me wrong, it's good, just didn't satisfy me the way I thought it would. I have to give it 3 Z's. Moving on to the movies, and let me ask you something. Can you take the heat? That's the film I'll be reviewing today. This motion picture, starring Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy, follows a serious FBI agent and a foul-mouthed Boston detective working together to solve major crimes. I love the fact that they brought Bullock and McCarthy together, as it makes for a really odd pairing, and it worked. 3 Z's. That's it for this edition of Views and Reviews. I just want to ask, what are you watching?
Well, it's fall in Windsor, so that means it's the Windsor International Film Festival. Elliot St. Aubin reports on what's in store for this year.
Windsor International Film Festival's executive director and chief programmer, Vincent Georgi, held a press conference to talk about what they are doing this year.
We have 186 features and documentaries selected this year, over 300 screenings.
He spoke more specifically about movies presented last year.
Last year, Major Films of WIF ended up receiving 21 Oscar nominations, including 6 Oscar wins.
One of the movies WIF is most proud of showing off this year is called American Fiction.
Very happy to announce this morning we'll be showing American Fiction. This film received TIFF's People's Choice Award just a couple of weeks ago. This is from Warner Brothers, directed by Cord Jefferson. This will be a major Oscar player in the coming year. It's going to be released theatrically in December.
This film is going to be a very special event because there are a very limited number of tickets being sold.
This was a really special one. This one is capped. The seating for this film is capped at 500. We legally can't sell more tickets for the film than that. It's a very exclusive screening.
WIF starts on October 26th and goes until November 5th, so go to windsorfilmfestival.com to find out more information on ticket packages for this year's events. For MediaPlex News, I'm Elliot St. Aubin.
It's October and almost Halloween, and we have the inside scoop on all the scariness. Here's Zach and Riley.
Hi, I'm Zach.
And I'm Riley.
And we'd like to welcome you to our segment, ZNR Entertainment,
where we'll be talking all the latest in TV, movies, music, celebrities, and more.
So stick around to see what's in store for this week. Welcome to this episode of ZNR Entertainment. I'm your host, Zach, and I'm standing here with Gavin Michael Booth, who is one of the directors of the Boo Crew documentary 8-part film. First of all, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you guys for coming out tonight. I'm excited to finally show this show to the world.
So, out of all the documentaries you can make, why did you pick this one?
Sean and Dario that run it, I've known them for about 20 years, and they had I have footage from the very beginning of this, just being around and being friends with them. 2013, I made my movie, The Scare House, inside of one of their previous buildings. So when I had the opportunity to pitch Bell Concepts, I said, I know what I want to do. I feel like only 10% of Windsor knows that this building even exists or what's inside here. And I was like, I want to put a spotlight on it. They're all my friends. I know how to tell this story. So that's how Boo Crew came together.
And what has been your favorite part about filming this whole thing?
Honestly, getting to see some of the behind the scenes that I never knew about, or hearing stories that I feel like I'm sort of loosely around every year. I help out here and there. We did the movie together. We promote wherever we can. But getting to see and hear all of the stories of how this place has built up to what it is today, and just seeing all of the kids and the people that work in here, the volunteers, really just seeing how much they love Halloween and love being here. It's been really inspiring to see just people pushing art and wanting to make something really fun for the community.
And when can people see this? When will it be available to the general public?
Well, if they're not here tonight, they can watch it Tuesday, October 3rd onward on Bell 5 TV1. It's the cable channel. If you have Bell for your internet provider, you can find it on there.
Anything else you want the public to know about?
They can also check out at Boo Crew TV on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and find out more about the show, even if they don't have Bell.
Again, my thanks to Gavin Michael Booth for joining us here on ZNR Entertainment. For the Mediaplex, I'm Zachary Balog. We've got a brand new podcast for you all about a Dale in the life of Dale Kabukian.
Hi there, it's me, Dale Kabukian, a self-proclaimed cutie from Asia's Pearl of the Orient, also known as the Philippines. In this podcast, you will hear some of the differences in culture, views, and other things I have noticed living and studying in the Great White North, aka Canada. So sit back, relax, and delight in the first episode of A Dale in the Life. It's been a year since I came to Canada, and I could still vividly remember what I felt when I first stepped out of the plane. I was with my mom and we were pulling 4 suitcases that were around 20 kilograms each, and I could barely move them because of my tiny, frail body. A day after I touched down in Canada, things didn't go out smoothly. The moment we got off of the plane at Toronto Airport, we struggled to find our luggages. We walked back and forth, and at first, it was no biggie. We were exhausted and barely slept at the 17 hours flight from Saudi to Canada, so I just thought, Dale, chill. You've reached your dream country. We were looking at the screen at the airport for our flight details when a red text in all caps said,
"Flight delayed."
I had to check if it was my flight number. Double check, triple check, and yep, it was ours. We shrugged it off and said to ourselves, no biggie. But do you know how long the delay was? It was an excruciating 10 hours, folks. Yikes, jump scare. Now, let's talk about bad omen. Out of all the people I've got in touch and befriended with during the flight, I was one of the people who received an email from the government saying that I have to have a swab test for COVID. It's just hassle, dude. It's been an adventure. With all those inconveniences that had happened, I assumed I would have an unlucky life. Anyway, fast forward to the first week of class, I was sitting in front of the teachers in every subject so I could actively participate and listen attentively. Here's the tea. The phrase I most used during the first week of class was, "May I go out?" I saw some of the reactions from my teachers. Some of them were a bit fascinated. Maybe they felt like we were in kindergarten because a kid just asked permission before he could use the washroom. Funny, eh? It is in my culture to say the words, "May I go out?" because we were taught that it is a sign of respect to ask for permission before you can step out of a room. Anyway, a week later, I have stopped doing that. I realized it's not bad to just step out of the room. My classmates are not disrespectful at all. In fact, they're very Canadian because once I got to know them, I realized they're all sweethearts and kind and respectful. Oh, anyway, I might be talking too much now. I needed to go to the washroom. Listeners, would you mind if may I go out? That's it for today. Bye.
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
Ready for something a bit different? Cryptid Country explores urban legends new and old. Here's Elliot St. Aubin.
Creatures. Myths, legends. This is Cryptid Country. Welcome to the first episode of Cryptid Country, the show where we discover all sorts of creepy creatures from across the globe. In this first edition of Cryptid Country, we will be talking about possibly the most famous cryptid ever. The legend dates back to 1958, when a journalist named Andrew Genzoli wrote an article about Bigfoot in the Humboldt Times. He had received a mysterious letter from a reader who wrote about a group of loggers in Northern California who had discovered strange large footprints. Genzoli had written the article as what he thought would be a fun Sunday morning story, but the readers were very fascinated with the mysterious footprints left behind by an unknown creature. Genzoli and another writer from the paper wrote a follow-up article finally calling it by the name the loggers gave it, Bigfoot. Bigfoot is described as a large bipedal ape with usually brown hair covering its whole body. It is said to be anywhere from 6 feet to 15 feet tall. Some people even say you can smell a foul stench whenever a Bigfoot is nearby. Like Michael Rugg, the owner of the Bigfoot Discovery Museum. He describes the smell as a skunk that rolled around in a dead animal and then sat in a garbage pit. Over the years, there have been thousands of sightings across all of North America. None more famous than the infamous Patterson-Gimlin film. You know the one. The one where Bigfoot is walking through a rocky landscape swaying its arms while staring at the camera? Yeah, that one. That footage comes from a short film made by Roger Patterson and Robert Bob Gimlin. This footage is concrete proof for Bigfoot believers everywhere. And Patterson and Gimlin never said that the footage was fake, with Patterson even taking it to his grave. The location they filmed it was a mystery until 2011 due to a flood which caused the foliage to regrow and cover the area, making it unrecognizable. It was discovered to have been recorded in Bluff Creek, about 40 kilometers northwest of Orleans, California, and about 60 kilometers south of Oregon. But while most sightings of Bigfoot are in the Pacific Northwest, there are many different names for Bigfoot all over North America. Some of these include Florida's skunk ape, the grassman from Ohio, and a more unique name from West Virginia, the old man of the mountain. Even though some could argue that Bigfoot is America's cryptid, there are sightings of similar creatures from other parts of the world, like Australia with their own ape man that goes by the Yowie. Over the years, Sasquatch has also become a bit of a cultural icon. Bigfoot has inspired the name of a music festival, an amusement park ride, a monster truck, and even a Marvel Comics superhero. That concludes the first episode of Cryptid Country. Thanks for listening, and join me next time when we dive into another urban legend hailing from West Virginia.
Oh, nothing like a big hairy man to start off this Friday morning.
If you thought my podcast was weird, you're clearly new to this show. But it gets weirder because Zach is here with the weirdest news found on the internet.
It's Friday, and that means it's time for the weirdest news found on the internet. Time for weird news. Far from home, at least that's where a couple flamingos found themselves. The pretty pink birds ended up along the Lake Michigan shoreline in the town of Port Washington, Wisconsin recently. It is believed that the birds were displaced north due to Hurricane Idalia. The birds were also reported in Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Kentucky. I'm just waiting for the Jurassic Park-esque battle between the flamingos and the geese. Alrighty, time for the stories out of the Great White North. Stories that'll make you go, oh, Canada. Out of all the things you see on the road, deer, trash bags, and even other vehicles, how about celery? A massive cleanup got underway on Highway 400 after a truck hauling the green vegetables overturned, spilling the stalks across the busy roadway. The section of Highway 400 was closed due to the cleanup, and patience was appreciated by OPP. What would have made this story even better was a collision with ranch dressing. That's it for this edition of Weird News, and now time for your dad joke of the week. What's orange and sounds like a parrot? A carrot. I'm Zachary Balog. You cannot make this stuff up.
Thank you, Zach, and thank you for tuning in.
You've been listening to MediaPlex Live
on CJAM 99.1, redefining radio in Windsor, Detroit.
On today's show, we have had contributions from
Pauline Bounier,
Blake Sharp,
Lauren Briscoe,
our sports guys Cam Segan and Jesse LaRouche,
Sydney Langlois,
Dale Kabukian,
Sean Brannigan,
and Elliot St. Aubin.
I'm Ray Livingston. He's Zach Balog. Woo! See you next week, CJammers.
That was easy.